Reggie was a gangster prince of the East End. Kray was a one-man mob.
Who were the Krays? Ronald was an English gangster from the 1960s. He, along with his twin brother Reggie, was the most famous and brutal criminal of the time. They built a real empire through terrible crime and violence. At the same time, they were active in the social life, surrounding themselves with celebrities, partying like they were part of the high society. They owned a club in the West End and organized parties attended by all sorts of famous people, including politicians. Even though many of their crimes were committed in plain sight, authorities couldn't touch them because all potential witnesses were too scared to talk. But that ended on May 8, 1968, when Detective Superintendent Leonard Nipper Reed arrested them. They were convicted, and Ronald spent the rest of his life at Broadmoor Hospital as he had been certified insane. He died in 1995 from a heart attack. Ronnie Kray was born on October 24, 1933 in Hoxton, East London, 10 minutes after his twin brother Reggie. His entire life was closely connected with his brother, as they not only shared his birthday but also a career in crime. His parents were Charles David Kray and Violet Annie Lee, and he had a 6-year-old brother named Charles James, and a sister who died before the birth. The twin contracted diphtheria at the early age, while Reggie recovered quickly. Ronnie suffered from complications and nearly died because his condition was so serious. They kept him isolated in the hospital until his mother decided she would take him home and take care of himself. After rejoining his brother, Ronnie miraculously made a quick recovery, but the damage done by the illness was permanent and led to mental problems when he grew up. They attended Wood Close School and the Daniel Street School, but that would not be the foundation of their future in life. Instead, they were inspired by their grandfather Jimmy Cannonball Lee to begin boxing and got quite good at it. They participated in the London School's boxing championship and even made it to the finals. Ronnie was more aggressive and unpredictable than his brother, but in one fight against Reggie, he suffered a serious head injury that was considered a reason for his mental instability later on. While they were teenagers, the twins formed a band that got into serious problems with the law, but managed not to get arrested. They kept boxing, but Ronnie's brutality went beyond the boxing ring, and he was wanted to fight anyone who would annoy him. In 1952, they were drafted for the National Service. They ran away and got caught and turned over to the army after having punched the corporal in charge. They went to prison, where they behaved so badly that they were dishonorably discharged from the army. They also lost their boxing careers because they had a criminal record. Ronnie and his brother began a career in crime when he bought an old snooker club and started civil protection records. There, they also became involved in hijacking, armed robbery, arson and many other crimes, through which they expanded their nightclubbing business as a result. Ronnie went to prison in the 1960s. In the meantime, Reggie got a nightclub called Esmeralda's Barn, where they would run their operations. They also formed a gang called The Firm. The status club of the owners made them famous and brought them other heights of the London social life. They socialized with politicians, lords, actors, and a photograph in the company. David Bailey, Ronnie said in his autobiography, "They were the best years of our lives." Ronnie was the most violent one, although his temper would oscillate according to the dose of stimulant, and he was getting it. Sometimes felt like he had two personalities, which only made people fear him more. In July 1964, Ronnie was involved in press scandal, which Sunday Mirror wrote that he was in sexual relationship with Lord Booty. It was a huge problem, because homosexuality was considered as a crime at the time. After making threats and using their social connections, the newspaper not only retracted the article and paid the settlement, but also didn't print anything about the criminal activities. Ronnie's temper became more difficult to control, and in March 1996 he shot George Cornell, a member of the rival gang, right in the head in a pub in the middle of the day. As always, witnesses were too scared to say anything, and Ronnie had to be released. Ronnie Kray's most highlighted crime was probably the murder of Jack McVitie, over failing the fulfill contract to kill Leslie Payne. Ronnie and Jack got into a fight and Kray shot him twice. But the gun didn't fire, so he had to stab McVitie to death. The twins associated saw that was a problem, as Ronnie was out of control and they feared for their own lives, so people started talking to the police. They helped the authorities finally convict them and spent them in prison. Ronnie was sentenced to life imprisonment in March 1969 for the murders of Cornell and McVitie. Ronnie was labeled as a Category A prisoner and had no liabilities. Eventually in 1979 he was certified insane and he suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. He needed constant medication, so he was committed to the Broadway Hospital until his death. The life is portrayed in the movie Legend with Tom Hardy.